You're listening to the Anxiety Guy podcast, and I thank you so very much for your rates and reviews. If you are in fact enjoying this podcast, take a few moments and just leave a positive rate and review. I read each and every one, and it would mean so much to me. As well, if you want to learn more about any of my anxiety recovery programs, head over to theanxietyguy.com today. And friends, many of us are beginning our journey with somebody else. I'm talking about anxiety coaching. I'm talking about therapy. I'm talking about working with someone. And when you start working with someone, getting coaching and getting therapy, it can be a little confusing, can be a little fearful because you don't know how much to share. You don't know what direction it's going to go. You don't know if it's going to help you, all this investment. And what I want to do today is I want to clear a few things up. I want to share with you 5 ways to know if in fact your anxiety coaching or therapy is in fact working. Because many times we can be stuck in coaching and stuck in therapy for what seems like forever, and mainly because of the comfort of it all, thinking that right around the corner we're going to have that breakthrough. Well, if you haven't had that breakthrough in, say, 5 years, I doubt it's coming. And it's time for a change, and it's time for a new approach. And so let's get into some of these so that you truly understand whether your coaching and therapy with somebody is in fact working. Number 1, you feel heard and rapport is building. This is very, very important because if there is no rapport, if there is no deep communication, if you don't feel heard, then you're not going to share very much. You're not going to get to the unconscious roots of your anxiety. You're going to talk about surface level stuff. You're going to talk about situational anxiety. And that's not where the roots lie. But if you feel heard by somebody else, if you feel like you're connecting to somebody, if in fact the coach or the therapist has gone through what you've gone through, then you will share more, you will be more open, and you will apply the skill sets given to you in a very powerful manner. So make sure that you are being heard. Make sure that there is a bond and rapport is building. Very, very important. Number 2, you are given a few skill sets that speak to the roots of your anxiety and not solely relying on logic to heal traumas and respond to present anxiety. One of the weakest ways to heal an anxiety disorder is through logic. One of the weakest ways to heal an anxiety disorder is to talk about it. Don't get me wrong. You have to talk about it. But if you're always just talking about it, you're not going to get anywhere. Because the more you talk about your anxiety, the more it's there in the present time. We have to talk about mind, body, spirit. We have to talk about growth. We have to talk about transformation. We have to talk about these things. And as number 2 says, you are given by the coach or therapist just a few little skill sets. And you feel like these are a little bit uncomfortable to use. And if they do feel unfamiliar and slightly uncomfortable, then good. Because these are the very skill sets that will speak to your inner child, your subconscious mind. Number 3, you feel like progress is being made in terms of perceptions and feelings, not only behaviors. What I mean by that is pretty much anybody can expose themselves to anything. Okay? But if you're exposing yourself and focusing solely on fighting through certain situations and applying new behaviors in new situations, then you may be re-traumatizing yourself. So it's important to understand that exposure works. It's important to understand that the behavioral aspect of change is very, very important, but you need to have new perceptions. What I mean by that is, let's say you have an anxiety symptom, and for years you thought the anxiety symptom was related to some kind of physical disease or illness. And just now, not only in your head, but in your heart. You're starting to feel a shift happening, a perceptual change. You're starting to go, oh my God, there's my inner child saying, blah, 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 trying to protect me again from an upcoming situation, or it's reminding me that I need more rest, or I haven't eaten yet. So your perceptions are starting to change based on the fears you used to have. So you're seeing them differently, number one, and you're starting to feel different. It's an unfamiliar feeling, and to many it's uncomfortable because anxiety is comfortable. Okay, let me say that again. Anxiety is comfortable. Okay? It's not that healing anxiety is hard. It's that we don't believe in the change that we're putting ourselves through. And so when we start to believe in this change, when we start to paint a picture of what life really is going to be like after anxiety, now we're sending deeper signals and messages to the subconscious mind. So number 3 is just make sure that progress is being made in terms of your perceptions and the way you feel, okay, not just behaviors. Number 4, there isn't a feeling that your coaching or therapy will go on indefinitely. Rather, the mentor will be honest enough with you and tell you when it's time for you to take on the world by yourself and coach yourself. Okay? Our children learn from us, we learn from them, and they move on in their lives. Being stuck in therapy or coaching for an extended period of time just means that you're afraid to let go. You're afraid to take on the world by yourself. But let me tell you something. Until you do, not a whole lot's going to change. Okay, so understand and follow your heart. When your heart says, hey, it's time, this feels unfamiliar, I'm moving into the unknown now, I have to use these skill sets by myself, I no longer have my coach every single Monday at 6 p.m. PST, EST. I've had that for so many months or years. Letting go is difficult. Yes, it's difficult. Of course it's difficult. Change is difficult. But just because something is difficult shouldn't move us away from the change process. So follow your heart, okay? Follow your heart. When your heart starts to say, okay, it's time for me to take on the world, do it, okay? Let the coach or the therapist know that you don't want to do this for the rest of your life, okay? You want to meet your coach, you want to meet your therapist in a cafe and talk about tea. That's great, okay? You want to talk about tea. You want to talk about other goals. You want to talk about other things but your anxiety disorder. This is good. Number 5, you have a sense of enjoyment over the healing journey. I'm not talking about celebrating every single day. Yay! I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this deep underlying feeling many times at the back of your head that says, hey, I'm kind of enjoying this. Okay, I've had anxiety for a long time and now I'm putting together a plan. Now I'm working with someone and I'm enjoying it. Healing anxiety can have a sense of enjoyment to it, can't it? Right? And of course, the more playful we are around the process, the faster we're going to change. Make sure that you understand, my friend, that you are more than capable of healing anxiety for good, not managing or babysitting your symptoms forever. You are capable of healing, okay? And so because you're so capable of healing, let's understand the blocks to your healing. Don't be afraid of the next chapter. Don't be afraid of the next step on the healing journey, okay? The next step is looking right at you. It's looking right at you. Sometimes we don't want to accept these ideas. Sometimes we don't want to move towards the very thing we have to move towards. But let me tell you something. Healing happens when we move towards the burning building that we've been running out of for our entire lives. Okay, once you start running towards that burning building, you realize how capable you are. I love you very much, and I hope this podcast episode spoke to you. Enjoy your coaching. Enjoy your anxiety coaching, your anxiety therapy, but make sure that you understand these 5 points, okay? You are more than anxiety, Head over to www.theanxietyguy.com today. Start your healing journey with me. Bye-bye.
The most powerful anxiety guidebooks on true anxiety recovery are now available on Amazon. Pick up Beyond Anxiety and F Coping, Start Healing, and supercharge your healing journey today. Also visit www.theanxietyguy.com to connect with Dennis and find the right online program for you. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you in the next podcast episode.